In a historic feat, New Zealand has become the first team to whitewash India in a test series on home soil, sealing a 3-0 victory after a nail-biting third test in Mumbai. In fact, India's hopes of reaching the World Test Championship also now took a crushing blow as the Kiwis handed them a never-seen-before 0-3 series defeat on home soil. In a tense chase of 147, India stumbled to 29 for 5 at one stage before Rishabh Pant's 64 gave them a glimmer of hope. However, Ajaz Patel, the man of the hour for New Zealand, struck again to claim his 11th victim of the match, sealing the game by 25 runs. In fact, Ajaz's performance with match figures of 11 for 160 also made him the architect of New Zealand's success, while Williams' half centuries also held their batting together. New Zealand had already taken a 2-0 lead in the series, winning by 8 wickets in Bengaluru and a massive 113 margin in Pune. Now, this remarkable victory not only marks New Zealand's first ever Test series win in India since 1955-56, but also ends India's 12-year dominance on home soil. A monumental series win for the Kiwis and a bitter end for Team India's massive record. In fact, we'll be discussing this and a lot more on the broadcast. Joining us right now, Rajinder Amarnath, who's a former cricketer, Vedam Jaishankar, who's a sports journalist, and Nikhil Sharma, who's a sports commentator and an author. I'll start with Rajinder Amarnath ji. Rajinder ji, what an embarrassment for India. We pride ourselves in being dominant at home. We choke in important games. We choke in ICC finals, semi-finals. But keeping all that aside, one thing that every single Indian fan is proud about is our record on home soil. But it's not just about the 3-0 margin of defeat. It's also about the manner in which we have been defeated. We have been outplayed, we have been outclassed, and we have been outspun.
Well, there's no doubt about it, to be honest. This is one of the rarest occasions in Indian cricket history that we have been comprehensively defeated in all the three test matches. We have known India has been called for many years as the last frontier to be conquered. Every team coming to India realized the difficulties they faced, especially on the turning tracks in India. The reason India could win at home for such a long period because we had the capability to play on those turning tracks, which unfortunately seems to be missing with this squad now. We don't have the class spinners of Bishan Bedi, Chandrasekhar, Prasanna. Neither our batsmen are capable of playing good spin on a bad track. I'm using this combination of good spin on a bad track because most of the Indian players are used to playing on a good batting track. Look at the IPL. A blind man can play that kind of shots, which we see in IPL. You don't need technique, you don't need concentration, but here in test matches is a long version of the game where your concentration, your capabilities, and your desire to hold the crease for a longer period comes into focus. But unfortunately, the mindset of the Indian batsman, what I could see through the series is, you bowl them number of good overs, don't give them runs, they panic. The mindset seems to be only for T20. And if you carry with that kind of a mindset into test matches, and a bowler who can read your mind well, you're a sitting duck for them.
Right. In fact, let me take this point across to Vedam Jaishankar here. Vedam ji, Mr. Rajinder here made a very interesting point. He said that we talk about India's dominance on home pitches, but we forget the fact that India back then had a very strong batting lineup, which of course had a very strong technique against spin attacks of other countries. But now when you look at it, it almost looks like all these batsmen are trying to score off every single delivery. And consistent line and length is what it takes for the opposition spinners to get our batsmen out. So do you think T20 game, especially tournaments like IPL, have they now in a way ruined Indian batting as far as tests are concerned?
Good evening. I think ruined will be a very big word. I wouldn't say ruined, but let's look at it this way. Not only have we been faltering where temperament is concerned, where technique is
Vedamji, I know it's a very strong word to use, but 46 all out, a historic loss for the first time in history. I think ruin would be the kind of words that we need to be using right now, especially the manner in which we have been humiliated.
Exactly. See, the thing is, we have not been on the ball. You win the toss on a pitch like in Bangalore and you opt to bat first. That's the result you get. Likewise, somebody like Rohit Sharma, it looked right through the series that he was a walking wicket. There was no need for him to open the batting today. Maybe we could have used Shubman Gill as an opening batsman, Washington Sundar maybe coming at number 3. So we could have done something like that. But we were never on the ball. We were using a tried and tested outfit. We were trying formulas which don't work. And let's be very honest. None of these bowlers from New Zealand, they are not Mutaya Muralidharan, they are not Shane Warne, they are not Abdul Qadir or Tausif Ahmad or any of those or Graham Swan. I mean, they are bowlers, okay, they are decent bowlers. But, to give them so many wickets time and again, it really calls whether you are up to it to take them on, I would say the pitches were very bad. I mean, these are kind of pitches that you should be able to play in regular Ranji Trophy matches. And they haven't played so many matches. None of the Indian players really have played so much of cricket in domestic pitches. They might, like Rajendra Amarnath said, they might have played maybe white ball cricket on flat pitches. But, the real Ranji Trophy pitches, the Dilip Trophy pitches, where the ball will take some turn and bite, we don't even have spinners. Even the spinners we have been around for the last, 15 years? 10 to 15 years. So nobody's pushing them out of the spot. So it's not just that we don't have batsmen who can play spin, who are not used to spin. There's so many things you need. Play close to the bat, allow the ball to come. You can argue and say maybe the DRS has taken a bit of the pad out of the play. Maybe. That's true. But then again, when you look at the other side, the others also have the same problem. But they are up to it against your spinners. Why haven't you been able to tackle their spinners? And when you look at somebody like Ajaz Patel or Santner, they're good bowlers, but they're not outstanding spinners. People who have, like Shane Warne, like I said earlier, who have been outstanding but have come here and fallen a cropper in India. That has not happened now. Now these guys are going to go back with their collars right up because not once, not twice, 6 innings these Indian batsmen have failed, and you just don't have a clue. If you play another test, I'm sure the result will be the same because you don't have a clue how to handle the spinners. You don't have a clue how to bowl to them, and you're making the same mistake again and again and again and again. And that's the problem right now with this Indian team. They are used to a set formula. If something goes outside that box, then they are struggling.
Absolutely. In fact, let me take this point across to Nikhil Sharma. Nikhil, I was just going through the Twitter feed of Sachin Tendulkar, who had quite a bit to say, especially about this particular game. And one of the things he asked, was it because of lack of preparation? Was it bad shot selection? Or was it lack of match practice? And I'm mentioning Sachin Tendulkar here because we all know he's the dawn of Indian cricket, the greatest batsman we've produced so far. And the more we watch Test cricket, the more we're assured of that. Even he played Ranji Trophy matches till 2013, almost till his retirement. And now, if you ask any average Indian fan, we don't even remember the last time Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma played a Ranji game. Do you think this arrogance, in a way, is also what's leading to the downfall, given the fact that you just look at them playing in the IPL and straight they are parachuted into the Test squad? Do you think this is something that Indian team does not deserve?
Ashish, as far as Test cricket is concerned, I have 3 words that I feel, are very important. Firstly, your attitude. Secondly, your intent. Third, your application. When you talk about, as of now, tests are very relevant. Tests are the absolute test of cricket. And all these 3 words are very important. I think India, a tad bit were overconfident. A tad bit, we undermined the ability of New Zealand. We thought there'll be pushovers because, Sri Lanka almost humiliated them in the Test series that, New Zealand played right before coming to India. 2-0, and Sri Lanka really dominated that. And Indians today, under Rohit as well as Gautam Gambhir, want to feel invincibles. It's a great thought. We want to go out and dominate games. We've beaten Bangladesh in 3 days, but we're not there yet. Or at least I feel we're not there yet. I think in their minds, they feel. There's also a huge lack of application. When you move from T20 cricket, and no problem, it pays you a lot. IPL is a great tool for cricket in India. We are the T20 champions. But when you move to Test cricket, your intent, your attitude, your application has to be a whole different ball game. All right. When we talk of Mitchell Santner, we talk of Ajaz Patel. You have to give them respect. If they're playing for a Test team against you, you've got to go out there and not say, "Oh, I'm going to dominate them," irrespective of how the pitch behaves. How the boys, both of them, bowled exceptionally well, and you were lucky, that Santner was not playing the third Test. Some of the decisions were schoolboyish. For example, in the second Test, I thought, playing that, holding your batsman back because of that left-right combination, the old school lefty-righty combination, let's keep them guessing, is, I think, in my mind, is schoolboyish. Maybe they had a better thought behind it. Overall, I feel India, if you've given 13 wickets to, in the second Test to Mitchell Santner, you've given 11 wickets to Ajaz Patel in the third Test. I think there's a clear lack of application. Our bowlers did reasonably well, I can say, in the second and the third Test. But if you're playing Mohammad Siraj, you've asked the pitch curator to prepare a turning track and bowling 6 overs in 2 innings for Mohammad Siraj.
Absolutely. Nikhil, a very interesting point you're making there about Mitchell Santner, because I thought in Sri Lanka, Mitchell Santner was finding the middle of the bat more than the batsman did. That's how he was bowling in Sri Lanka. And here in India, he looked like a completely different bowler altogether. In fact, you're also talking about captaincy. And before I take the next set of questions, let's also listen into the 2 skippers, what they had to say after the end of the match.
It is quite tough, and it tells you nothing is easy in life. It's one day you're on a high, one day you're not. And that is something that I've learned at a very young age. But definitely, something like this will be a very low point in my career, having lost, 3 games at home. And yep, I fully take the responsibility of that, as a captain and as a leader as well. I have not been at the best of my abilities right from the start of the series.
I'm sort of lost for words a little bit in terms of what's happened over the last 3 days, but also the last sort of 3 weeks. I guess if you asked me at the start of the tour whether I'd be in this position, I would have liked to be in this position, but to be here now and play the cricket that we've played is really special, and really proud of the group. Leading this group, it's always a really proud moment to lead New Zealand, and I guess to come here and be my first time as full-time captain, to be in this position is really special. But for me, it's not about me, it's about the team.
Well, just looking at the body language there of Tom Latham, he looks shell-shocked at what his team has done, in fact, in the series. Absolutely did not expect such a performance, neither did India or any of Indian fans. In fact, Rajinder ji, full kudos there to Rohit Sharma, who's come out and clearly accepted the mistakes that he's made as a skipper, as a batsman as well. But also, let's talk about Gautam Gambhir, because a lot of chatter about Gambol and the new Indian mindset and all those things after the Bangladesh series, and it's all come crashing down now. I'll just read out a few stats, the achievements that we've managed to get as far as Gautam Gambhir's coaching tenure is concerned. First time that we lost a bilateral ODI series against Sri Lanka in 27 years. First Test series loss at home at 12 years. First Test loss against New Zealand at home in 36 years. And first home Test series whitewash ever in any series that had 3 or plus matches. Rajinder ji, what a disastrous start to Gautam Gambhir's Test, coaching career.
Well, it's easy to blame the coach for team not performing well. It is the duty of the batsman to deliver. It's not the duty of the coach to deliver what happens in the field. He can guide you. He can tell you what he intends to get out of you. Maybe I think it's too much has been written out of this defeat. I think
Rajendra ji, sorry to interrupt you, but the reason why a lot of
because
questions are being asked is because these are the same players who won us games in the last 12 years. These are almost the same set of players that kept us invincible at home soil. Suddenly, Gautam Gambhir comes in, he talks about India scoring 400 runs in a single day and this positive mindset. And looks like more than positive mindset, it's just reckless batting that we're seeing. That's exactly why Gautam Gambhir is being dragged into this entire conversation.
I understand what you're trying to say, but let me just tell you one thing. When you go and play Test cricket, you have to read the wicket well. I think the series started when you did not read the wicket well, the pitch well, and as you said, there was little moisture in the pitch, and Indian captain still decided to bat on it because he felt the moisture probably will be retained for an hour or so, which the long batting lineup which India possessed will be able to tackle it. Unfortunately, they did not. The reason is because Indians have not been playing on those kind of pitches. Once you are not used to playing on a pitch which gives assistance to the bowlers, your mindset needs to change. But unfortunately, they kept playing the way they were playing in the IPL or any T20 matches. And once you lose wickets early on in the innings, definitely the pressure comes on. And then a couple of harakiri committed by Indian batsmen also led to a dismal performance in the first test. But look at the transformation in the second innings. You're getting 400 plus runs in the second innings. That showed the class. Once the wicket is good, you are able to get those 400 plus runs. But I fail to understand when India possesses such a good pace attack, they've been doing exceedingly well at home and overseas. They are the bowlers who have been able to get to the early breakthrough, put fear in the minds of the batsmen with their pace and the ability to pick early wickets. Why did we change it from a good batting track, which assists the fast bowlers, into a turning track? We are not used to playing good spinners on a bad track. Even ordinary spinners have turned out to look brilliant on a track where the ball bounces, where the ball keeps straight. The bowler doesn't have to do anything. He simply has to bowl a good line and length and let the pitch do the rest. And once pitch starts playing tricks, it's very difficult for you to adjust your technique immediately. A free-flowing batsman cannot play defensive. You cannot change your technique immediately. You have to be used to playing or changing your technique on and off depending upon your ability to do that, which I don't think so. The Indian batsmen of the present lot, they are free-flowing batsmen. You don't expect Virat Kohli to be plodding around and just waiting for a bad delivery. The mindset is so aggressive. You want to dominate the bowlers, but without realizing the consequence of the pitch, how it's going to behave. I don't think so. They have been able to counter it.
Absolutely.
And we have seen after 400 plus in the first test match, they have not been able to get anything close to 300 runs.
Correct.
And another thing I just want to put about because, the ordinary bowlers we have been talking about.
Right, Mr. Rajendra, go ahead.
Just one more point. I just want to put another point about the spinners is that any cricketer who is representing the country will not be an ordinary cricketer, whether he's a batsman or a bowler. You go with the mindset that the other bowler is an ordinary bowler, I think you have lost half the battle already because he has got nothing to lose, you got everything to lose. And this is what we have seen in the series. India lost everything.
All right. I've just got a couple of minutes left on the broadcast, and I'll take one answer each from Vedam and Nikhil here. Vedamji, I'll start with you now. What's our obsession with spin tracks? Because earlier we saw India used to have an upper hand on spinning tracks because we had players like Sachin, Dravid, Lakshman in the lineup. But now looks like we just struggle to play as soon as there's a spin. Something that we used to use against opposition batsmen in the past.
Yeah, as New Zealand had played in Sri Lanka, so they were more or less used to subcontinental pitches. But if you look at the history of the Indian batsmen we have now, they haven't played enough Ranji Trophy. In fact, the Indian pitches, like these pitches, are actually alien to them, far more alien than it is to the New Zealanders. So unless we get used to these tracks by playing a lot of matches in these tracks, the batsmen make a lot of mistakes. They play away from the body, they push forward unnecessarily,
Right.
They play with hard hands. I mean, there are so many things in playing on turning tracks which you need to do, which the batsmen are not doing. Not because they don't know. It's just that they haven't had enough exposure on these pitches for the last few years. And suddenly when they come across the pitch like you had in Pune and now, they just don't know how to handle it. I think that's the big challenge. And like you said, sometimes why do you make a call like sending a number 11 batsman as a night watchman in that situation? And he used up a DRS too. So we made a lot of mistakes throughout the series. If somebody sits down and watches it, it's not just the bad toss. I mean, the
Absolutely.
good toss that you
Vedamji,
won
I
and the
think
bad
no
decision
lessons
that you
learned
took
from
in
the
first test.
ODI World Cup
Right
final
through there
there.
have been a number of
Everyone
bad
knows how the
decisions
slow
taken.
pitch there backfired against India and how we struggled. In fact, Nikhil, before we wrap this discussion, only 1 minute left on the broadcast, I'm being told. Give us a sense of India's chances in the WTC final now. Are we going to make it? The BGT is going to get tougher now.
Ashish, if you ask me, my view on WTC is we go test by test. If you've lost 3-0 to New Zealand at home, we should ideally stop obsessing over WTC. The WTC final, the best test team should go. And on this form, India doesn't deserve to go. I'm not trying to belittle India, but I'm trying to say New Zealand's played really well. I hope they do well and go on. If India want to come back in the reckoning, they've got to do something very simple: is win all the remaining test matches and the test series that they have. But I'm not obsessing over it, and we should stop over it as well. We should try and focus on the performances, and they've been abysmal. A lot of thinking to do, to think about how we need to reinvent our test cricket and test cricket in general, because BCCI takes a lot of those calls. Ashish?
Absolutely. Not something I'd want to hear as an Indian cricket fan, but of course makes a lot of sense when you think about it in terms of, purely cricketing terms. In fact, Rajendraji, Vedam and Nikhil Sharma, appreciate you joining us on the broadcast for this discussion. Hopefully, we'll be back for the BGT and much more positive on that end of it. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast there with your views on what's happening as far as India and Indian cricket in the Gamble era is concerned.